Hello everybody, it's Jamie from Old Shipping Lines, and today we're going to talk about the Olympic Nantucket disaster of 1934, so I hope you enjoy. So we all know the RMS Olympic, the sister ship of the ill-fated Titanic and the ill-fated Britannic. Now of course the ship was owned by the White Star Line and built by Holland and Wolff in Belfast. Now, the vessel would have been launched on 20 October 1910, with her maiden voyage being on 14 June 1911. Now, she has had some collisions, two of them, the two major being of course, the early collision in her life with the HMS Hawk, and then, of course, the other one being the lightship, the Nantucket. So, let's talk about it. So the timeline is May 1934. The Olympic going from Cherbourg and heading to New York, under command of Captain John W. Binks. Earlier, he had the lifeboat swung out and ordered his crew to check the ship, so including checking the watertight doors, boiler rooms and other stuff that they did on the daily. And the Olympic was ready to embark passengers. A total of 233 were on board from Cherbourg. On the early morning of 15 May 1934 and approaching New York, Captain Binks, together with officers on the bridge, didn't get much sleep due to pretty thick fog. He told the crew to be on extra alert. And at 5 a.m. the fog was getting thicker and the Olympic was starting to sound her fog horn, as was usual when the fog was getting thicker. And the Olympic even slowed down to 12 knots to be extra careful. At 10:55 a.m. the radio on the Olympic showed that the Nantucket's lightship was close, and the lightship fog signals were heard on the Olympic. She appeared to be 2 points on the starboard bow, so the Olympic changed course, 10 to port, and the captain ordered the ship even to go slower to 10 knots. He also ordered his chief radio officer to point the exact point of where the lightship was. The Olympic tried to stay in contact with the lightship by radio, but they didn't reply. Luckily, the lightship's fog signals could still be heard. Since the Olympic had changed course, Captain Binks thought that he would pass the lightship easily. But the weather was not actually the best on board the lightship, with heavy waves going against the vessel, and the captain thought that the lightship might come loose off her moorings. The lightship was commanded by Captain Braithwaite, and he was reading a book calmly in his cabin, when one of his crewmen ran in his cabin and yelled that the White Star Liner Olympic was on top of them. The crew ran on deck. On board Olympic, a crewman yelled to Captain Binks that there was an object ahead, and Captain Binks skipped a heartbeat. He ordered his engines stopped, and the lightship appeared right in front of the bow. Binks ordered that the helm was put hard over for a port turn. The Olympic was slowly turning. Binks also ordered the watertight doors, of course, closed. But sadly it was too late and the Olympic sliced through the smaller vessel. On board the Olympic, passengers barely noticed the collision, which first-class passenger Sir Arthur Steele, Maitland, registered only as a slight jar. The changed settings of the engines were much more noticeable, sending vibrations throughout the ship as they were put into reverse and brought up to maximum revolutions. Passengers came onto the deck to find out what was going on, and they were met by the smell of oil and the sight of debris in the sea around Olympic. For those aboard the lightship, the collision was felt much more directly. "We saw the Olympic loom out of the fog a short distance away," stated C.A. Mosher, the first mate of the light vessel. In a newspaper interview 2 months after the incident, the visibility was only 500 feet. "A crash was inevitable. I sounded the collision alarm. We all downed life preservers. And then we waited. When the collision came," said Monster, it was more like a hard push and a terrific shaking, a crunching and grinding. It was not a loud smash, as one might expect. The Olympic kept coming through." John Perry told the press, "At the time of the smash, I was into the radio cabin. I barely had time to get on deck and swim for my life." Robert Laurent commented that as it all happened so quickly, you had no chance to panic. "We all had our life preservers and it was a good thing that we did." Olympic responded extremely rapidly to the incident. The portside emergency lifeboat had already been swung outboard, and was lowered just before Olympic came to a halt. The starboard emergency boat was launched a few minutes later, along with one of Olympic's motorboats. The scene was described by the New York Times. "Nosing through the dense pall of fog, the boats searched the area for almost 2 hours, while those on board the liner prayed for their success. A hatch drifted past, bearing the figure of an unconscious man. Shouts from the liner directed one of the lifeboats to the rescue. The same boat picked up a swimmer not far away, and the floating body of a man who appeared to be dead went past. The lifeboats disappeared from sight in the murk, and the watchers from the liner waited breathlessly. A red buoy bearing the name Nantucket floated by, informing most of the passengers for the first time what they had struck. After 3/4 of an hour, the starboard lifeboat came into view, as those who eagerly lined the rails saw that it contained only one figure aside from those and at the oars, and the figure was motionless. But a minute later, the port boat appeared with 5 or 6 men in the blue monkey suits of the lighthouse service. 2 of those appeared to be lifeless. One man in civilian clothes, Captain Bravewhite, sat stiff and upright. A cut on his head bled profusely. The 3 boats managed to rescue 7 of the lightship's 11 crewmen and brought them aboard, but 3 of the 7 died in the Olympic's hospital. Captain Bravewhite, First Mate C.E. Mosher, radio operator John Perry, and the oiler Laurent Robert all survived the disaster. Engineer William Perry, oiler Justin Richmond, cook Alfred Montero, first cook Pina Seaman, E.B. George, seaman John Fords, and seaman George Rodriguez did not survive the sinking. The lightship had sunk so quickly that anyone below decks had little chance of surviving. Binks ordered the Olympic to resume course for New York at 12:29 p.m. once it had become clear that there were no more survivors. The liner had suffered only minimal damage in the collision, comprising some dented hull plates which were repaired in a dry dock in Southampton in May-June 1934. She was allowed to leave New York at the scheduled time on the 17th May after a brief inspection. And that concludes the video of the Olympic and the Nantucket collision. It was a short video, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Of course, it was ended on a sad note, but in my personal opinion, no one is to blame. I mean, Captain Binks really tried to do everything correctly, and as we all know, in marine or naval life, sometimes mistakes and incidents happen. But if you enjoyed this video and if you have friends who like ocean liners or ships, please show them my channel. We are trying to reach the 400 subscribers and I know we can do it together. So also please leave in the comments your thoughts in the comments below, because these very help me a lot. So with that out of the way, guys, have a good night or day wherever you are, and we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye.